Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Yeah, good.
Well,
Nice
first
and
of all,
early.
guys, hello. We're back. We're in Dubai. Very exciting. Misha, Nez,
Nez,
as always.
and
we
we're
are
happy to welcome
Dr. Michael
Appa.
Appa. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much.
We are so thrilled to have you. First of all, you'll notice that I will speak like this because my teeth, and dentists and I, we're not the greatest love story ever.
We'll
Maybe
dive
after
into
this
that.
we'll talk
We'll
about
delve
that.
into that.
Exactly.
But, how would you best describe who you are and what you do?
Do you remember the first time we met?
Yes. In some dungeon underneath the Louvre.
Oh, I was
He
thinking
had
you
me
met in
captive.
NYC.
He had me captive.
You know, it's interesting, and I just want to start with this. That conversation, you know how conversations for some, 90% of our conversations people forget about. And it's interesting because you and I have not spoken in
6 years.
7 years.
Yeah.
That was like 2015, 16.
Yeah. I
right?
just had my son, so yeah, 7 years.
Yeah.
Nearly 8 years.
And I remember not many people.
Yeah.
I remember you so well because we
my
had such
God.
an impactful conversation on me.
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
remember sitting down with you and I was trying to explain to you why teeth were so important. And you were, I mean, I love you.
Yes.
And I had a great night with you.
Yes.
But I
Oh,
remember
boy.
you telling me, like, I don't get it. Like, I don't see what the big fuss is with cosmetic dentistry.
No, that wasn't it, actually. I'll have to correct you.
Tell me.
Oh.
So for me, I was it's fearful. Okay. So to change, because it's,
Do you
for
like
me-
how I'm bringing this up, by the
I
way?
like how you're bringing this up. I
changing
think
the
it's good.
changing the structure. I think maybe it's being a child of an immigrant. Like you build something, and what if you lose something? Then how do you then afford to go back to that thing?
Yeah.
I think that is always on my mind.
Yep.
So that's where I think my rationale was coming from. Not I don't get it, because I absolutely respect the way that you can change the way someone feels.
Yeah, of course, about themselves. I think teeth is so
Mentally,
important.
physically, and I am a doctor's daughter, so I know a lot of physical and mental health comes from the health and well-being of your mouth and
Yeah.
your teeth.
Of
Yeah.
course.
So
I just thought it was interesting because you were sitting right next to me.
yeah, I was
And
very
so-
important in those days, not so much now.
Not so much now.
That's
She's
not
just
true.
a podcast girl with me.
And it was a really eye-opening conversation for me in terms of, by the way, you're 1000% right. The biggest, I would say, commitment with aesthetic dentistry is the financial portion of it versus if it's done well, the health, people think like, oh, I don't want to touch my teeth because I have healthy natural teeth, and why would you mess around with it? And that is like 5% of people that come in here. Normally
But you do consider it a true luxury, right? I mean, it's a true luxury to get your teeth fixed, unless you've been, God forbid, in a car crash or you have really horrendous. I mean, to get a whole set of veneers, I mean, that's pure luxury.
I think we're going to dive into that. But the point is, it's, in the general public's mind, the easiest way to describe what we do from dentists for the last 20 years has been to say words like veneers, cosmetic dentistry. But the truth is, every time we sit down with someone's mouth, right, dentists are looking at creating long-term success
Yeah.
that looks good, right? And we're using porcelain veneers, but we're using porcelain fillings, porcelain crown. I mean, porcelain veneers are just a type of dental restoration. And it just, in the general public's mind, they think of it as, like a fake nail that goes over your teeth and you can look good. But we're doing it from a health, functional, and aesthetic standpoint. So is it luxury? Of course, because of the price point, right? But I wish it was more affordable for the masses. The problem is it's a real commitment, which is what you're saying, to maintaining it, right? And it's like buying a Ferrari and not being able to pay for it's expensive to
Of course,
service
to
a
run and to
Ferrari,
service.
or a tire blows out. It's expensive. It's
So
not like a regular
can I
car.
get into a little bit of how you first started out? I read
Yes.
somewhere that you wanted to be a dentist from the age of 5. Is that correct?
I heard he wanted to be an artist.
I heard he wanted to be a doctor first, but then he was not well, and then he wanted to be a
That's right.
a
So
dentist.
I wanted to be a pediatrician. I don't know why. I mean, like you think back to these stories and you think like, what was I really thinking at 5 years old? But I wanted to be a pediatrician, and I got really sick when I was 5. I had some weird liver disease that I was sick for like 6 months, and the doctors were worried that I was going to die. And my mother and father were obviously beside themselves. And whatever it was, I was vomiting all night long for months. And I can remember distinctly my mother getting on the phone with the pediatrician at like 2 o'clock in the morning in a complete panic. And I remember her voice and the fear that was in her voice. And I remember thinking to myself, like, I do not want to be on the other end of that phone call, because what can my pediatrician do? And this is at 5, right?
Yeah.
So
That's a pretty intense
That's a pretty
thought.
intense memory, though.
that's
Yeah.
how, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think some of our earliest memories, if they're traumatic, I mean, my earliest memory is at the age of 5 as well,
Yeah.
of something that happened traumatic. So that tends to stick with you.
Yeah.
And then you decided, okay,
And so I thought, I knew my dentist growing up was pretty low stress. I always saw him on the golf course. He seemed,
are you always on the golf course?
No.
No.
And I thought, like, that's a better, role that I would like to play.
My dentist
but-
is stressful just because of me, because I scream every time I go near
My
him.
husband used to want to be a dentist because his dentist had a Porsche. And
But
that's
let me,
why that
but
was
let me
his-
just tell you, I mean, that's a lot of studying, right? I don't think people really appreciate sometimes that dentistry, it takes a long time.
Yeah.
So then you decided and you became a dentist, and you're very successful in one at that. And you started out in New York. Now, I was telling Nez, I have a line that I'm famous for, which I think the New York Times quoted me on saying, is that I make watch contact before I make eye contact. Very nice patek, by the way.
Thank you.
And you said that you notice teeth immediately, so you make sort of teeth contact.
Yes.
Hence, Nez and I will be speaking like this.
He's always seen my teeth.
I know. I'm
He was
always
like,
worried.
you out of everyone need your teeth done.
I have Bugs Bunny teeth still at the front, but it's like
That's not true.
you get so is it, you walk out and you see something, you think, oh my God, teeth, could I do their teeth? Have you ever felt the need to tell someone they need their teeth fixed?
I definitely see teeth first.
Yes.
Teeth for me show a lot of personality, right? So I'm judging how someone is based on how their teeth look when they're speaking to me. And that's an immediate perception that's just drilled into my head.
Okay.
Have I ever thought about telling someone they need to do their teeth? Never.
No, because he's a
Uh,
gentleman, thank you.
0.
Well, okay, or
Because I want people to realize it themselves and seek me versus me having to feel like I'm pushing or selling something.
say, for instance, you were somewhere and you saw this young person and you just thought, oh my God, they could really benefit and it would change their life.
He's still going to say no.
He's still going to
Misha.
say no. Okay. You don't want to do my teeth. Okay.
So we hear your life
Yeah.
is very, very regimented. Like, you know exactly by the minute what you're doing, when you're doing. Is there a typical Dr. Appa day?
Every day is a
Every-
typical Dr. Appa day, unfortunately. It makes me very boring. And
Not at all. Tom Ford has a very typical Tom Ford day as well. He's very regimented. So you come in that school. Do you also have 5 baths a day?
No.
No. Yeah.
But I
yeah.
definitely shower before.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
think he has the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true.
I get up at 4:45,
Wow.
and no matter where I am, I work out first thing by 5:30. I look through emails because I'm always on 3 different time zones. So Dubai, New York, LA, and depending upon where I am is when I'm getting information. So as soon as my eyes open, the first thing I'm doing is reading through whatever I need to get through, emails or touch points with key staff. Go to the gym, That usually resets my head.
Yeah.
That's
what I'm missing.
Showering and go to work by 8. I'm usually in by 8. Run an office meeting. Do my day.
Have a
Usually,
podcast.
and a podcast. Do my day till 6, and then do the last half of whatever time zone. So if I'm in New York, it's LA. If I'm in, so wherever I am, I'll do the last office. I have a chef that prepares all of my food because my biggest problem with staying healthy is making the right decisions.
I think that is
key.
something that
I
would do if someone was going to say to me, what would make a difference in your life?
Your life would be a chef.
Yeah,
Food.
personal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah, it's been an absolute life changer. In fact, when I met you, I was much heavier.
So was I. But
Well,
for
you
different
just had a baby.
reasons.
Yeah.
Okay. And
so what do you do for fun?
So by the time I get done eating, it's 8.
Okay.
I like to finish food before 8, and then I won't eat from 8 to 8. And then by 8:15, I'm getting ready for bed because I need to be asleep by 10.
Okay.
And so,
and that's when his double life hits.
Yes.
And then that's the bit we're not going to
That's
hear
the
about.
bit we're not going to hear about. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you really transform like the way that people can look. And I've often seen like interviews of you talking about there's no signature Dr. Appa smile.
I hope not.
No.
Yeah. So could you explain?
That's something I love actually about
yeah.
you, is that you don't make everybody uniform, which is fantastic. So yeah.
Well, if you look at the human face, right? My theory, and it's never been documented, is there are, call it 20 to 25 basic facial types that exist in the world. And then you get mixing of races, lifestyle choices, and these things, orthodontics as a kid will change your face structure, and these will start to change and create the individual. I can see through the lifestyle, the mixing of races, the work that's been done up to this point
you were
in your
forced
aging
I feel
process.
completely
At the age
naked
12.
at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
And I can start to see where their teeth were and where they are now. And then the idea of creating natural harmony or beauty is to is to tie everything together with the teeth. And so there should be, from the individual, a lot of signs of where and what their teeth are supposed to look like. And so when your brain, and my brain is processing so fast, right? Taking like a million snapshots of all of the 21 years of doing this and kind of putting together a picture in my head of how people should look. So it's completely based on seeing, hearing, and then teeth have personality. Seeing, hearing, and looking at the individual. And that's why it's so difficult for people to bring in the picture and say, like, I want these teeth.
I would like to have teeth
And
like Julia
I think
Roberts.
that's the biggest.
But no, I can't. I've just got to stick with Bugs Bunny.
There's so many bad examples, I think, there where it just doesn't look.
Doesn't fit.
Doesn't fit.
Doesn't fit.
You see someone's teeth before you see their eyes.
But also
or their face.
even something as simple as whitening. I mean, sometimes you see people and they're blue. It's like blue white, and it's you just think, okay, tone it down. So yeah, I guess, but it's such an important part of the face. It's like
it's
eyebrows.
interesting, the physical health aspect. A lot of it does stem actually from the teeth, right?
Yeah. I mean, okay, so you can go into two camps with that, right? We can talk about the mouth as the entrance to the body,
Yeah.
which is one conversation. But then there is the aspect of how you perceive yourself and how you carry on life because of it, right? So what is your insecurity when you get up in the morning? When you look at yourself in the mirror?
So many.
We'll be here
It's
all
just so many.
day.
We'll be here all day. I mean, God, you hit this age and you're like, oh my God, I got so many things wrong. But never mind, it's okay.
But it's true though,
Yes.
right? So, I go back when I was young, I was overweight. So playing sports was a thing for me because if we were going to play basketball, pickup game of basketball, and there were shirts and skins, like I wasn't playing because I wasn't taking my shirt off.
Is it true that it was a picture that an ex-girlfriend took of you that made you?
It's true.
Yeah.
It is true. Yeah.
How did you get all
Listen
the,
to
like,
me. Listen to
she's
me.
been going through your personal
Wow.
I have
files.
not.
Pretty
She's been
impressive.
going
I
through his
have
personal
not.
files as
I
usual.
have not. But
Slightly
obviously,
obsessed.
I ask all the questions that everybody wants to hear. One of the
Slightly
questions I
obsessed.
got, which we'll talk about on the top 5, maybe a little bit embarrassing, but it's cute.
Yeah.
No,
But it's interesting how these things hold people back from living their life.
absolutely.
And with teeth, it's something that we can, take away in a 3-hour appointment, right? And then you see patients coming back to the office. It's not when they come back with the new teeth. It's when they come back 6 months to a year later
And the
and they've lived
confidence.
with the new teeth. You see the changes. The hair's changed. The weight has changed. The dressing has changed. Their attitude has
like that.
changed. Their
So-
smile has changed.
So it's affected, and it's actually impacted a
Yeah,
lot of
mental
areas of
health,
their
right?
life. So can I ask you, besides why you chose to come to Dubai, I know that you're a pioneer in quite a few techniques, but why? Because I think you've built this amazing facility here,
Yeah,
right?
where you
everything's
actually-
in-house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
So 2007, I had members of the royal family come to New York, and I treated them, and I became very close with the family. And in 2007, Dubai was like the new hotspot,
No.
right? And everyone from Europe that we had a teaching institute in London at the time, and all the UK dentists were coming here to try and start fresh. And it was kind of like, in dentistry at least, it was kind of like the Wild Wild West, because cosmetic dentistry was booming. People hadn't really experienced it here, and there was just a lot of opportunity. So in my mind, I had thought about Dubai prior to this family coming.
Okay.
And then when they came, it was one of the conversations that I was talking to them about. And in their way, they basically invited me to come back and kind of see what it was like here. And so I came in 2008, just to see everything, and pretty quickly fell in love with it. And I used to be a visiting doctor at another dental clinic until 2013 or so, which is when we started to plan this and build it.
Okay, fantastic. But now you come, I think, once a month, did you say?
Yeah. So
I
I
mean,
spent
how-
about a
yeah.
week a month here.
So there's quite a big landscape here around cosmetic surgery.
Yes.
What role
Do teeth play?
dentistry? I mean, how can you collaborate, or is there no collaboration? Is there something you can work alongside each other? Does one really impact the other?
Definitely. Um, but let's go back to the caveats.
Yeah.
When you go in to see a aesthetic doctor, if they're good, they should be looking at you on a whole,
Mm.
not Mr. Potato Head pieces, right? So people go in with the perception that, my lips are thin, so I want lip filler. Or my nose is big, so I want a rhinoplasty. Or my face is sagging, so I want a facelift. And the question
Why are you
is,
looking at
Yes,
me?
yes
Look
to
at
all
her.
of them.
I'm gonna look
Yes
up.
to all of
mean?
them.
But the question is where is that patient in the aging process? Why is it looking that way? And what discipline will really affect it the best,
Mm.
right? And typically, sometimes it's teeth, sometimes it's facial plastics, sometimes it's derm. But the idea is that there should be a collaboration of a good team, right? Where you're in direct communication with the other doctors that you're working with, and you're looking at the patient and saying, if we do this first, then this, and you create a plan for them to address what it is that they're talking about. And so many times, and I'll give you just a quick, easy visual. So many times patients come in their 40s and say like, oh, I want lip filler because my lip is thin.
Mm.
Never a good idea, by the way, lip filler. Sorry. Never a good idea.
And they get it. And what that does to your teeth, especially as you're aging. So everything is heading south as we age.
Oh, yes.
Bones, muscle, skin,
Everything.
everything. And so from your 20s to your mid 40s to 50s, you're losing the amount of teeth that you show when you're speaking and smiling. And you go from in your 20s showing your top teeth when you speak to in your 50s showing your bottom teeth when you
Oh.
speak.
I show my
Okay.
top teeth still.
And yeah.
Yeah.
And so, and then if you think about somebody in their mid 40s, early 50s saying, oh, my lip is thin, so I want lip filler, the lip filler pushes the lip fuller,
Fuller.
but down.
So all
And
you'll
s-
see is
And so
more.
now you see no teeth.
Yeah.
And then they come in and they say, I don't know what's happened. I've just lost my smile. Here's a picture when I was 20, and here's a picture of me now, and I don't show any
Wow, I
teeth.
didn't even
I could
know
give you
that.
somebody famous who's a perfect example of that, but I won't.
Okay, well,
I'll
you
tell
know,
you
let's
later.
not make it personal,
No, I'm not making
Misha.
it personal, but somebody really famous who's really who completely.
I know exactly
noticed
who
that,
you're talking
right?
about
Yeah,
because you're saying it to her.
yeah.
But the point is
What?
that
Yeah.
the point is, are we looking at the entire aging process and how to combat it to keep, I mean, the goal should be, and correct me if I'm wrong, the goal should be to make the person look better at every age.
I agree.
This is what we
Not young,
talk
yeah,
about
it's
a
all
lot,
the
isn't
time. So
it?
it's not about
Feeling
looking
better,
different, but
not
it's just
different.
looking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if you start playing Mr. Potato Head with people, you're just making them
So
look weird.
do you work ever in collaborating with somebody that you trust and that
Yeah. So
you would
that's
say,
the
okay,
caveat is that, finding a good aesthetic comprehensive dentist and a good plastic surgeon and a good dermatologist,
If
they're
you could
rare.
put us in touch
Yeah.
with someone.
I
you
graduated
can get
with
a 2-for-1 deal. You can get a 2-for-1 deal.
I graduated with 300 dentists from NYU.
Yeah, I know you. I think you did very well at NYU. Your teachers were.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
5% of them I would let practice on me.
Oh,
And so just because someone's a dentist or just
yeah,
because
yeah.
someone's a plastic surgeon or just because someone's a
Oh
dermatologist,
gosh,
like there are
yes.
just special people in the field.
Absolutely.
And you have to find them that get on your page.
And do what you want well rather than but actually sadly I think now some people with social media they just see a picture, they don't actually look at it. It's like like I have a store, so some people just see an item of clothing, they don't care what it's going to look like on them. They
Yeah.
just want that, and I'm trying to tell them, please, it's not going to suit you. The same thing with they'll bring in a picture of this or even someone's teeth or someone's looks, and it's not going to work for them.
100%.
So yeah,
100%.
see, I
So,
understand.
whatever.
Oh God. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's great being in your clinic today. We were just talking
Yeah.
about how fancy it was, and
I
there's
even
a
like the
definitely
napkins, it
a
says
like
up.
design
Aesthetic
aesthetic
to
to it. What's your you do have a love affair with art and design and fashion, and how do you see that in your work?
It should bleed through everything.
Yeah.
So I would say fashion sense and art sense that's not true. Art is different for me. But my
In what
fashion
way?
well, because my fashion sense I would say is I like understated luxury, right?
Quiet luxury, I think now is
Yeah.
the great thing. Yeah.
And designers like Laura Piana and Brunello Cucinelli
Oh yeah,
captured that
definitely. They
perfectly.
always come to mind when I
Yeah.
think of you.
Right.
I mean, not that I think of you often, just
Well, obviously, I'm
just
it's okay. It's fine.
And so that should translate in, if I was giving people really white, big teeth, it wouldn't make much sense.
Yeah,
no.
no.
And so quiet luxury with teeth fits into the same category where exactly what I said, you're looking at the person and you're trying to figure out what they should look like without bringing attention to their teeth, but saying they look better.
Yeah. I mean, what I really love about you as well, I think you've done some of the most famous smiles in the world, but you would never really know about it. You don't talk about it, which is lovely. And it's just, your work sort of speaks for itself without having to be blaring it everywhere. Are you going to, where do you see the next step? What do you see as the next step? Are you doing some kind of foundation? Are you teaching
Well,
people?
hold on a minute. I
Sorry.
haven't finished on the
Oh,
whole
what was
like
your question?
art and collab, because he's done
Oh.
some collaborations like with
Oh.
sneakers, right?
Yeah.
And you're on the board of a clothing
Atelier Forte.
yeah, Atelier Forte. I want to know a bit more about that
Okay.
actually.
So the collaborations are interesting to me because dentistry is just not thought of as exciting
Yeah.
at all,
Yeah.
right?
Well, that's
And
because you go to bed at 8:15.
Yeah.
correct.
I didn't want to say that. She said it. She said it.
Oh.
Yeah.
But when we look at the big picture of what we're trying to do,
Mm-hmm.
we are trying to create commonality in dentistry where, my vision for what this company is to have aesthetic centers everywhere and have the best team of dentists and the best team of dental technicians giving a bigger chunk of patients this experience, right? So it's
That's
not
cool.
Yeah, it's not just about, the dentistry first and foremost has to be excellent, but it should be, when we talk about want versus need based, it should be something to where when you go to get your hair done or you get a
Thanks for
blowout,
noticing.
it's a celebration. Right? At the end, you're standing up and the stylist is there and people are looking at you and you're saying, "Oh, I look fabulous," and you're leaving on a
Well,
No,
high.
actually,
No,
in the
I
Middle
don't.
East, it's
I
a daily
never
thing
even look
because
in
let
the
me
mirror.
tell you,
I was like,
don't
"Thanks
even
very
look,
much.
it's
Okay,
just-
bye."
we don't. I don't even know how to hold a brush. So, I mean, I get
I
that.
get what you're
I get
saying.
exactly what
Versus
you're
the
saying.
doom and gloom of like, "Oh, I have to go in for a cleaning today.
Oh yeah.
True,
They're gonna
that is
scrape at my
true.
teeth."
Yeah.
How do we make dentist a happier place? I personally, well, I had a horrific experience in Paris. I remember I was in Fashion Week 1 week and 1 year, and I had incredible pain. I remember sitting at the Four Seasons, and my friend said, "Okay," and it was midnight. I was screaming in pain. They found me a dentist not far. They took me there, and without anything, he just yanked my tooth out. I was like, "Okay, you're gonna have to get on a plane. You're gonna have to take it out." I was like, "What? You yanked my tooth?" I'm like, "I'm never going to a dentist
What?
again." Yeah, true story, true story. And
Common story.
and yeah, I'm like, "Oh my God." And then I
I
realized
don't really
that when I
associate the
got to
French with
see,
dentistry.
when I got back, and they said, and that's where it really comes in, because I left it. I was so horrified, and I mean, I had it cleaned and everything fixed, but I didn't put in another one, and it was at the back. And they said, your cheek, your side of your mouth is starting to fall and stuff, so you need to make sure that you can put in a, what's that word?
Implant.
Implant. That's the one. You try getting me in a chair. It's never going to happen. So to
Yeah.
do veneers, even though I would love them to have like a perfect smile. My aunt has a perfect smile, but she had a horrific car accident. They put her to sleep. They fixed all her teeth. But now
don't
I
you
couldn't.
think that's part of the environment, though? The part of the aesthetic of like
Of screaming before you
of
get in the
upper
chair.
aesthetic.
Yeah.
No, because it does. It's not like your normal kind
Yeah,
of
if we had
dentistry.
green
Yes.
walls and tiled
Yeah, no,
ceilings
yeah.
and, elevator music and it smelled like mouthwash in
No, it's
here,
beautiful
Yeah.
here.
it would be
It is
terrible.
beautiful.
So already it sort of sets you in the zone of like a spa and relaxation and
Or not so
Absolutely.
bad. I mean,
Or
that's
not
what
so-
we're going
Yeah.
for,
Yeah.
Not
right?
so bad.
And then the people that we hire, the way we build our teams,
they're all
it's
very-
meant
yeah.
to cater to a better experience
Yeah.
and something that is, needed.
yeah.
Okay. So, because I know we're short on time.
Well,
Is there
can,
any-
can we do we
Go on.
have 5 minutes just to talk about some of the education work you do
Yeah.
and the foundational stuff? So there was 3 main things that I've heard you and your team talk about. One is common pantry.
Yes.
Now, excuse my pronunciation. Is it Quinis? SPH?
CUNY.
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 CUNY. SPH. And NYU and what you do there in the College of Dentistry.
Yeah. So it really hit home during the pandemic living in New York. It was pretty
Grim.
dismal,
Yeah.
not like here in Dubai.
It was strict, but
it worked
we were
very
a
well.
community, definitely.
It was cold,
Yeah.
it was desolate,
Yeah.
and the only thing you heard was ambulances, and you just
Yeah.
knew people were
Yeah.
In
not
trouble.
doing well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you saw as it, continued on long past what everyone initially, I remember thinking to myself like, oh, 2 weeks we'll be back to work and this will be over and done with. and it wasn't. And you saw employers with the decision of, do I pay my salaries? Do I try to put them on some kind of insurance-based program? And then, people that had steady jobs couldn't eat.
Yeah.
And you saw, I can remember Thanksgiving that year. I had never seen lines like that to get food.
Yeah.
Oh my God. At
And
the food banks.
Horrific.
Horrific, yeah.
and that's where we thought about giving back first to New York City, to Common Pantry. So Common Pantry, we donate a certain amount of money each year, and we went and took the whole team there to help
Amazing.
feed the homeless and help them prepare for the
That's
holiday
amazing.
season.
Well, giving back, right? And that's what it's all about.
Yeah. CUNY SPH is along the same lines. It's meant to start a kind of trend in New York City to where there isn't great dental care for underserved populations in New York. And we were able to create a program that didn't exist in dentistry
Yeah.
that took foreign trained dentists or people that just were concerned or interested in public health sector, to where we created a program that graduated 10 students per year, and the impact they've had on the environment and the communities has been amazing. I think we're in our 4th year now.
It's
See, I
amazing.
love that.
Yeah, that I love.
program.
Yeah, of
Because there's
course.
nothing like education giving
No, of
people
course
the
not.
opportunity.
Yeah.
And there was also some a study you did with that, which I find really interesting, on cultural differences in
Yeah.
oral health.
Yeah. The students did
yeah,
it,
the
Yeah,
students.
that's
which was
fantastic.
fascinating.
Yeah.
And then NYU has been a passion project for me since I graduated. So NYU for me was I would say NYU over my college experience was a real eye opener. It was where I felt most comfortable, where I felt at home in New York City. The program gave me so much. The faculty gave me so much that this year, it's been a long time coming. I've been faculty at NYU since I graduated. But this year we made a donation and we are building out an aesthetic suite at NYU.
Wow.
Ooh.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
which will harbor all of the aesthetic programs at NYU
Now
under
that
one roof.
is, yeah.
And so that the idea is to allow them to learn aesthetic dentistry the way that we
Yeah.
do it.
And that in itself, I think, will change the mindset of it being a need to a want
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
terms of treatment,
I hope
for
so.
sure. So,
So,
All
we're ready.
right.
We
it's
always
the
get the
moment. It's the top
Give it to
It's
me.
the top
five.
5.
Question number 1.
Question number 1.
Oh, are you doing question number?
Shall I do? Okay, you go with question
Pass.
number 1.
Love your sense of style.
Oh, he's
favourite
already
fashion
said
brands. But he's
that.
already
Laura
said that.
Piano, Bruno Cucinelli, right?
Brunello Cucinelli is my
Anyone,
favorite.
Brunello
Bruno,
Cucinelli, yeah, of course. I'm going to get a little bit more. If you could do anyone's teeth, you don't have to say, but
He's-
who would you?
He's me.
No.
You'd like to do my teeth.
Quiet. I'm talking about somebody famous, not famous in their own
What about
house.
someone in need?
No, yeah.
I used to say Tom Cruise because it was an easy one,
Yeah.
but I think
Okay, so who do you think has the best smile, for instance? Best set of teeth?
Kendall Jenner.
No, come on.
Kendall Jenner? She's about 2. Of course she's got a good set of teeth.
No, she's like yelling. No, come on. Jessica
Okay.
Alba.
Jessica Alba.
Julia Roberts.
Not anymore.
No?
No.
Really?
Have you seen?
yeah.
Yeah.
We're not saying that. Okay.
Okay.
I have a
I
naughty
would
question.
like to update her smile to
Oh,
give
you-
her
that's
back.
nice.
the
I
most
like
beautiful
that.
smile in the
Julia,
world.
Julia, you heard it here first.
Yeah.
Come to
We're
Dubai.
offering you the
Yes.
opportunity.
Yeah.
You?
Okay. Question 3. What's the worst thing you can eat every day?
By the way, thank you. These are all from Watch Fashionista people.
Not
My
all of
watch.
them,
Well, a lot of them.
actually.
Yes, but a lot of them. Okay.
I will keep it local to the region.
Yeah.
You're gonna hate this.
What?
Halwa.
Dates.
Sweets, dates. Oh yeah,
Dates.
dates. Of course, it's
What's
pure
that?
sugar, right?
Pure sugar.
Pure
Yeah.
sugar.
Sticky sugar. It's a great snack. You'll eat it continuously throughout
I
the
know.
day. The more times you reintroduce sugar to your mouth,
Ooh.
the higher frequency, the higher the cavities rate.
And the worse the diabetes, trust me.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
all about that.
Go on, you
sorry.
do question 4.
Somebody would like to know, are you single?
I'm
That
not.
was my question.
I knew it.
That was my question
It's all right, I'm
number 5.
going to do question number 5 as well. Okay.
Are you single?
Sorry. I'm not. I was married for 10 years. I got divorced and I've been dating someone since for 3 years.
Oh, nice.
I think were you married to the lady on Real
I bet she's
Housewives?
got
or something?
No.
Oh, not that
Oh,
one. No. Okay.
No.
Just
Come
I
on,
was-
you little gossip.
Just checking. We have to ask. Listen,
my
it's very
God.
important.
I'm so sorry for
Okay.
my,
Now,
co-host.
last but not least,
Yes.
this lady has
Better
said,
be a good one, Misha.
no, I'm just going to tell you that if someone doesn't drink coffee, doesn't drink wine, what is the best way to whiten teeth?
Haram.
And do they, I know, I just have to ask. And if they just do the whitening, I mean, do they also need a electric toothbrush if they do whitening every 2 months? They were very technical
First of
about
all,
this.
if you guys are not using an electric toothbrush,
I
I'm
use
gonna
an
be
electric
so
toothbrush.
disappointed.
I use an
course
electric
I am.
toothbrush.
Okay, because you're
I
looking
use-
at me like a little confused.
She-
Like, should
I
I tell
use an
him?
electric
Do you remember
toothbrush.
you gave me one of
Yes.
your Appa Beauty?
You
Yes.
didn't give me one.
This
Talk
is
about
so. This
Appa
is
Beauty.
You'll
yeah,
have
but it
one.
Thank you.
died.
So, yeah, go on. And
Go
now
on.
I have a
so
last
first of all,
question.
electric toothbrush is
Is-
probably
Even
the
my
most
son has
important.
one.
You
He's
heard it here
7.
first.
good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, yeah.
Most important. And secondly, like, you have to understand there's a lot with the genetic makeup of your teeth. So not everyone can have great white teeth. And to be honest, bleach doesn't do much.
See, I don't
think
like
it kills the enamel,
affect the
no?
enamel and stuff?
No, but
Oh.
it's just you got to set your expectations for what it's actually doing. So even when you said, sometimes people whiten their teeth too much, they're blue, that's bad veneers.
That is-
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So bleach gets them a little brighter and then
So
dulls
I
down.
have a question which is coming from last but not
For
least.
last but not least.
How do we make aesthetic dentistry become not just simply a luxury, but something that
We
you
are trying. So
Yeah.
it stems from education, right? So the more people that are doing it, which it's increased dramatically over the last 15 to 20 years, the more accessible it'll be for everyone.
And on that
On
note,
that note, we
shall say
end.
thank you so much.
Thank
Yeah,
you
thanks
so
for
much,
having me.
enjoyed-
Dr. Afra.
Yeah.
I'm
speaking
glad
to
we
you.
made up after all these years.
Yeah, I'm glad after
we
yesterday.
could be friends again.
Thank you, guys. Lovely been seeing you, and it's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from me and Dr. Appa. Goodbye.